channel. Thank you for watching Lango News channel.
Honorable, maybe just from me, we are going through an elective period, just 2 days to come. I want you to tell the public how you have candidates that you have been campaigning for, and so how prepared is UPC? We have seen there's a lot of the ruling party has come, the wave has come, and actually the NRM has swept through across. How is it down here in Lango sub-region?
I'll not hide that I'm disappointed not to be on the ballot. And there are many people who are equally disappointed that I'm not on the ballot. We really hope that we could change things. We could change the way politics is done. We could change the way we think about certain things and try to make a difference going forward. So, as UPC, I have been galvanizing support for all my flag bearers. It is my duty, my responsibility to see them through to the finish line. And therefore I'm urging all party members, the supporters, the voters to come out and vote in numbers for the UPC flag bearers. At least that way our message, our hopes continue to be there despite the fact that Jimmy Akena is unfortunately put on the touchline instead of on the pitch where we hoped to have made a much bigger difference for the future of Uganda.
So what are some of the manifestos that you think your candidates should address?
Our manifesto is broad, but our manifesto touches on matters which are enduring. I've mentioned the issue of the cattle. We have a housing program which is targeting especially civil servants, teachers, nurses, doctors, policemen, prisons, to be able to own instead of living in some of these dilapidated barracks of the 50s or early 60s. It's an innovative program where somebody will be able to own within a 5-7 year period. Costed, tried out. We have a system in our manifesto to give us food reserves, to be a stabilizer of the food security of the sub-region, not just Uganda, the whole of the sub-region. And if you look at the cattle population, where I think the government is hoping to get 8 million, the only places where there's excess of those animals is Sudan and Ethiopia. So the scope should not be looking within ourselves, we should be looking outside. And we did look at that in the manifesto, we did look at that in the costing, we did look at how we can reach in those areas and where we have an advantage. And the advantages which we can exploit as Ugandans, all that is in the manifesto. In the manifesto, we have a clear program of how we can deal with the fishing communities who have derived a livelihood. There's so much we have in the manifesto for the people of Uganda. We have so much in the manifesto about education, a professional medical service, which was the light of Africa. In the 70s, Ugandan doctors upheld medical systems in Kenya, in Tanzania, and the whole of Southern Africa. You go to South Africa today, it's Ugandan doctors who are upholding that system. We need them in Uganda, but we need to create an environment where they can thrive in Uganda. So all of these things need to be done for Uganda to work. And as UPC, that was there. All of that was there. It was not about issue of position or the like, it was an issue of what can we do to improve the livelihoods of the citizens of Uganda. So I am horribly disappointed that I didn't have a chance to present that to the people of Uganda. It hurts. And I think we've been cheated, and it is a debate which should be there. As a country, after an election, we should all be benefiting. The ideas which should have gone through should be able to add value to what the conversation is. We should be having hope for the future. We should not have a detrimental effect that, oh, election is coming. We should be hopeful that all of this would have brought us together, brought us going forward. But elections do not show that in Uganda. That's what I hope for as a third candidate who was going there to create an environment where at the end of the day you have to sit on the table. You have to talk to one another. You have to respect each other's differences. That's what I hope to bring on the table. I can't do it personally, but I hope that my candidates can continue that message. That's why I urge continue supporting the UPC candidates.
Okay. Yes, Mr. President. We understand we are in the due process of transition of power or an election. And what do you make of sharing the UPC manifestos with the next sitting government?
I always tell people, manifestos are not copyrighted. And if I was elected and I see a manifesto product which is going to work for the people of Uganda, I'll be the first to go for it. If I can speak to the one who wrote it, well and good. Even if the one who wrote it is not cooperative and the idea is there, will work for the people of Uganda, I will have no shame at all in taking it and implementing it. But sometimes people steal ideas, but they fail to implement. They only steal it at a verbal level, but they don't integrate it, they don't understand it in order to be able to implement it. So we've had many brilliant ideas which have never yielded fruit. So stealing an idea is worthwhile, but you have to know how to implement it, which has lacked in most cases.
Mr. President, I watched your video when you were campaigning in Agago. You told them that you wanted to secure 1 million to 1.5 million votes to be able to bring the candidates on a round table when none of them has won the election. Does it mean that you really did not look at yourself as somebody who was going to win that election if you were put in the ballot?
Realistically, the pathways which are available to us was not going to give us a full national coverage. So I worked on creating pathways to get that 1.5 million votes. I could not scatter myself everywhere, so it was very deliberate. There are areas specifically where I was trying to create avenues to create that number. But that does not mean that the outlook of UPC is not national. The outlook is national, programs are national. But how do you get on the table? My access to the table, of course, involved, I have a base. My base is well known. Now, you expand on that base to get to those numbers. When nobody can get the first round, you now have to come to a sitting point, an understanding point. And that point is where the agenda was the most important aspect. Because it was not about position or whatever. At that point was going to be, to get my cooperation, my agenda is here, minimum agenda. So I was going to be in a position to punch above my weight. But realistically, that was the pathway which was available. And when it was discovered that I could achieve that pathway, that is why all hell broke loose. That's why I've gone through all of this, whatever, because that pathway was possible. The mathematics was there.
Mr. President, how prepared is UPC to protect its votes on Thursday? Because we have heard supporters of NRM saying it is a must. They are going to win Lira City woman parliamentary seat, whether by stealing or anything. So how prepared are you to protect the votes in Lira City on Thursday?
Not only Lira City.
Do you win by stealing? You don't win by stealing. You are declared winner, but you are a thief. And if you are a thief, what are you doing? What are you doing in governance? We are supposed to be there to serve the interests of the people. Now somebody wants to steal, to do what? When you steal, you're going to be a better servant? No. You're going to be worse. And if it comes to the point where you're openly saying that I'm ready to steal, you should not be in this game of politics. Politics should be about ideas, about development. What are you bringing to the table? This kind of politics has really, this attitude where somebody thinks that I must be there irrespective of the will of the people. I am totally opposed to it. I find this is, it defeats all purpose. But I don't sleep on that one. I've always said, I know when it comes to an election, I go with the attitude that they are preparing to steal. So from the word go, I am preparing to defend at every level. every stage. You don't trust any information. And you cross-check those who are cross-checking and cross-check those who are cross-checking, so you're going to put layers and layers of protection. At the end of the day, if they just want to declare like that, they are going to ignite things which they don't understand. And there are some very irresponsible players today who just talk or do things without thinking of the implications of what it may mean. And that's when I fear. Because they have no responsibility of their actions, they just act, they just do that, they don't hold responsibility. And that's not the sort of politics or Uganda which I hope for. Let those who are responsible be able to handle responsibility. But some of these noisemakers, they need to be put in their place.
Mr. PP, with this stampede on your candidature, where do we see you in the next 5 years? And given a chance to serve in this current government, hopefully if they go back, would you consider that?
You see, some of the things were anticipated and also some of it was prepared for. The deep tank, which I've done, and the one which I intend to do, possibly in February, are being done under the Jimmy Akena Foundation, and specifically Akena's Livestock Services Industries. It's a livestock initiative. I recognize that they were trying to cut off certain means, so I prepared some things to be able to continue on some of the areas which I feel are very important. And coming into this, the threat on UPC, the threat on UPC candidates, the threat on the whole party. I also had to make preparations whereby some things can continue while we fight on multiple fronts. So I'm not totally unprepared for what tomorrow holds, but wait and see what happens.
Mr. President, currently during this campaign, UPC party seems to be divided. You made your point clear that no one should vote for President Museveni, who is the flag bearer for NRM, but it is also clear that some of the UPC flag bearers are campaigning for him. How do you look at the future of UPC after this election?
Well, that is not something which I'm really going to go into, because I made my point. When I was campaigning, I'm campaigning for all UPC flag bearers, irrespective of what they said or what they did. Because that is my duty, that is what I do. I've always stood by my flag bearers and I've fought for them in whatever circumstance. What they do in their own time, it is them to feel or to understand. For me, I'll do what is right, always.
And then, President, there's an issue of the lack of structures of UPC in most districts, apart from Lango sub-region. What has happened to the structures, and what do you intend to do to revive them? Because you'll find in some places there's no one contesting under UPC. I think like in actually, I don't think they're more than B5, the ones I've seen.
We had started the grassroots elections in East Acholi by the time courts now started interfering with the party process. And the plan was to have much of the structure done in that process leading to the primaries. But from July, mid-July, we were under paralysis. And the programs which were set, and I always find it best that you set your structure as late as possible, because that is when the ground is the most active. So that's the best time, I think, to plant the seed. And we got disorganized. We had done Lango a bit earlier because we expected a lot of contestation. And there was contestation, so we needed that to be done early, cleared the fights to reduce on the issue of independence. But we were supposed to roll out. There was a national program on the structure elections, which is part of the issue which we agreed in IPOD, although it has not been implemented as per what agreement we had in IPOD. IPOD involved the structures of the parties and the annual meetings of the parties. That funding was supposed to be there, but up to date we have not seen that funding. That affected some of those issues. But since July, we've not been able to do much. And it affected everything going forward. The number of candidates greatly affected. If we had gone through our process, we'd have much more candidates, we'd have much more visibility, but all of that got affected. There are some candidates who decided to stay home, there are others who even crossed to other parties. So it's unfortunate, but that's the reality we face.
Thank you for watching Lango News channel. Please subscribe for more updates.